Good morning, tribe. We're going to say goodbye to our Arizona DOT parking lot today and head for the Petrified Forest. How about that? So we had a lovely evening here last night with permission from the Arizona DOT employee that I spoke with, so that was nice. This spot is on iOverlander, and just so you know, the iOverlander reviews talk about parking on the dirt lanes that are surrounding the lot, and yeah, you can do that. Those belong to Holbrook City Water Department, and they do provide access, so, you know, be careful where you're doing that, because you don't want to impede their access, right? So, today is Friday, May the 1st.
Wake up with the sun in our eyes. Sally forth, no need for goodbyes. Journey calls, let's roll the dice. Every mile a new surprise.
Henry thinks it's about 72 degrees outside. I don't think it's quite that warm yet. I think it's probably more like 68 or 69. And as I mentioned, we are heading for the Petrified Forest today. So that'll be super fun.
At the next stop sign, turn left.
Yeah, I can't remember. Well, I can remember the last time I went to the Petrified Forest. Pretty sure. Nope, I take it back. I think I've been there since 2018. No, we're not turning left. We're going straight. Google seems to be confused. Forest. We've got 18 miles of this to do. Probably about 16 miles at this point. So we will catch up with you when we get a little closer. There's a sign a ways back that said rough road, and they weren't kidding. But this is the roughest that it's been so far. And perhaps we could have gotten here more quickly had we gone the way Google intended, but, you know, why do that when we can do this?
Turn left onto the Petrified Forest Road.
And I think this may well have been the way that I came the first time, maybe, or came out of. Because I sort of remember this crystal forest here. Petrified Forest gift shop, both of which claim to have a museum and matching dinosaurs. Wonder if they're owned by the same people. Oh, that's got an RV park too. Huh. And here's your sign. Petrified Forest National Park. Collecting park resources prohibited. And in the visitor center, as I recall, they have a whole lot of letters from people returning pieces of petrified wood that they stole, which I think is pretty cool. Look, there's a line to get in. I'm kind of surprised. Is. Well, one of them is a porta potty closest to us. I would say that even if you only intend to visit one or two parks in the year, it is worth it to get the America the Beautiful Pass. Now, I am both fortunate and unfortunate in that I have an access pass. That's for people with a disability. No cash. One of my friends is very upset that the national parks, many of them, will not accept United States legal tender, cash. But the issue is that for many of them, the distance to take cash to a bank and the requirement to have 2 people available to do it is prohibitively expensive. So you can get a senior annual pass if you're 62 or older for $20, or you can get a senior lifetime pass for $80. And if you don't have a pass, it's $25 to get in here. I think Grand Canyon was $35. Car ahead of me is from Florida, Jacksonville. I've been there.
Alright folks, welcome to Petrified Forest. Thank you. Have you been here before?
Not for many, many, many years.
Well, there's that. Thank you for the ID. Dogs are welcome on the trails with a 6-foot leash or less. You might have read that. But in case you didn't, trip planner for you. Only collect memories and photos, so no petrified wood, please.
I seem to recall that there are a bunch of letters in the visitor center from people that send it back.
They have some letters on display saying that people had bad luck when they took it with them and then they sent it back to us. So.
Yeah, I don't want to be one of them.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Alrighty. Here we go now. So if you're over 62, and you can get a senior pass, and you're only going to one park, it definitely makes sense to do that because the senior pass is $20 and it would have been $25 to get in here. And then that way, if you go to any other park, you're not going to pay anything to get in for the next year. And I can see petrified wood all along here. All of these things that look like rocks are parts of trees. Wow. Alright, so we're definitely going to do the main trail here by the visitor center so that we can see stuff. This might be the first time I haven't really seen dedicated RV parking at a national park, although there is some parking along the curb over there. Maybe that's where it's supposed to be. But whatever. They've got the Rainbow Forest Curios and Fountain.
She just texted me. Yeah, because I asked.
But we're going to head up here to the museum, which is also the visitor center, and start there. And today I'm kind of dedicating myself to using this camera, which is the Osmo Nano from DJI. It's my newest camera. But in my quest to be closer to real time for you guys, I realized how big a pain it's become to transfer video clips from my phone. Not quite sure why it's become so difficult, but it has, and this is easy, and it forces me to use the dedicated microphone, so you're likely to get better audio too. Alright, so here's your first look at petrified wood. Really pretty, isn't it? So it becomes where it looks like stone. But we're going to see more than this. We're going to start by going into the museum. All right, Kit, look at me. You're about to be a bark ranger again. Sit. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So basically, as a recap, Bark Ranger pretty much is an acronym. It means you bag after them, which we provide. Always wear at least 6 feet or shorter, which clearly. Respect the wildlife, meaning even as curious and excited as they are, you gotta make sure he stays with you. And just know where they're allowed to go. Normally the exception is, unless they're service animals, they can't be in the buildings, but clearly yours is the greatest exception.
Yep.
Right. So, can I get the name of your book?
Kit.
Kit.
K-I-T. And what's your name?
K-A-T?
Yeah, really.
Almost put that down anyway.
Sometimes I just call him Kit Kat, though.
Oh yeah, huh. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. But,
So what's your name?
My name is Edward Coates. No, it's Jesse. It's Jesse.
Very nice to meet you, Jesse.
Glad to meet you too. But as of today, hey, Kit is now an official bark ranger for the Petrified Forest.
Perfect. And so one question I had is, are the Petrified Forest and Painted Desert two different parks, or are they the same park?
No. So basically the thing to remember is that if you're looking to find one or the other, you won't have to look very far because you're driving through the Painted Desert, checking out the Petrified Forest. Because the Painted Desert's only the geological region the park itself rests on top of.
Okay.
No, so you're already seeing both of them at the exact same time.
Ah, okay.
One
Very
thing to
good.
keep in mind is that most of the petrified wood that makes the forest will actually start drying up once you go past the Blue Mesa going further up north.
Right. I do remember that from when I was here many, many years ago.
Makes sense.
Okay. So this is the Giant Logs Trail. It's only a half a mile. But we're going to take a closer look at it and hope that the museum clears out a little more when we go back so that we can get a better look at the stuff in the museum. It was just too crowded for me or Kit. Oh, so here, oh, it's numbered. I need to get a map. Let me go get a map because I want to know what the numbers mean. I think we should start with, how does wood become a petrified log? So a log becomes petrified when all its original plant material is infilled or replaced by minerals. About 216 million years ago, these trees died and fell into a river. They were buried beneath layers of silt, mud, sand, and volcanic ash, which protected them from decay. Mineral-laden groundwater percolated through the layers, carrying silica from the volcanic ash and other trace minerals, and the absorbent deadwood became saturated with these minerals. So they then replaced the cells of the tree, replicating the organic material in perfect detail. Eventually, silica replaced the wood material. Now, this petrified forest is not made of trees, but of stone. How cool is that? So this is the Giant Logs Trail, and it's pretty fascinating to look at some of the detail. And if I recall correctly, yeah, up there we'll be able to see like where an entire tree was. Yeah, there's a couple of those we'll be able to get a better look at, which is very cool. And it's kind of interesting to me how frequently Stephen Mather's name comes up, but he is basically the father of the national park system. So we were at Mather's Point in Grand Canyon a couple of days ago, and we're going to come to a plaque for him right up here, I'm guessing carved into this or inset into this piece of stone. Got these beautiful white flowers. Look at the brilliant colors of the trees. Look at that view. Just look at it. So there are a number of different little offshoot paths here. You can get all the way over there and come back down around. So I think we're gonna go up this way. Sorry about the wind. Hopefully the mic's doing okay. Kit's doing okay. So I think we're going to go up to the top over here, and then we'll come back down around this way. But you can still see quite a bit of it out there. Yeah, the piece I had was about that size, I think. And I don't know what they charge for it now. I'm pretty sure we bought it at one of those gift shops that we passed on our way in here. And I do recall it was $1 a pound. And we paid £40 for it, $40 for it. Okay, I guess we're going down this way. Let's check out the scenic overlook and walk past some more petrified wood. So I think this is where you're likely to see the greatest concentration of petrified wood in the park. And what I learned from the Conservancy guy that was signing Kit up as a bark ranger is that the entire thing is the painted desert, and it's just the petrified forest that sits on top of it. Can we see that green lizard? All right, let's check out this vista. I can see why they call it Blue Mesa. I can see plenty of blue. There's I think a raptor, might be a raven, not sure. But here are those stones kind of like stuck up against the side of the cliffs. Pretty interesting. All right, so we're going to finish off this trail and keep going because we got plenty to see here before we're done for the day. And as always, thank you so much for coming along. Hope you're enjoying the journey. I certainly appreciate having you here. You getting a little drinky drink? Oops, want some more? Here, hang on, I'll get you more. I'll get you more. He doesn't like it while it's coming out. Are you all done? You all done? Did you get enough? Did you get enough? Okay. I don't think I've ever heard of these before, and I don't think I can actually pronounce it correctly. Let's try. Pleucerius hesternus. It's a therapsid. They're large reptiles that possess many man-made mammalian characteristics, including a cheekbone, enlarged canine teeth, and a specialized attachment of the skull to the spine. Plant eater, up to 9 feet long, and might have weighed as much as 2 tons. That's a pretty big mass of mammalian reptile. And this is not a dinosaur. Raisokids, ranked as the top terrestrial predators of the late Triassic, thanks to huge skulls armed with powerful biting jaws and 3-inch long serrated teeth. Some grew to 20 feet in length. And here we have an aetosaur, 3 to 18 feet long, omnivorous reptiles with broad flat bodies protected by plate-like osteoderms. Some species had large spikes on their sides or back. They were possibly used for defense and species recognition. Interesting. All right, those are some varieties that I'd never heard of. Oh, here's a flying dinosaur. Flying reptiles. Wings comprised of 1 long finger and a flap of skin. Interesting. Oh, what are these? Terry and Dawn, the pterosaur couple. done in needle felting with wool. Pretty cool. My goodness, look at that enormous head. Meadowpsaurs. Giant amphibians that ruled the river bottoms in the Pangaea. All right, let's go look in here. More fossils. It's interesting because some of them, of course, are recognizable. Like there was a oyster shell over there, but many are not to me. Because what do I know? Come.
You're assuming we can.
Okay.
It must be incredibly hard too, because the sun is so tough. Yeah. And that portion.
That's what we use when we cover our stuff.
There's a beautiful piece. Probably why they have it right in the front of the visitor center. All right. I think our work here is done, and we're going to continue on. I am really enjoying having the big screen rear view camera. And I've had the camera's the same one that came with the RV, but the 13-inch screen is pretty awesome. We spent a fair amount of time here at the visitor center and on the Giant Logs Trail. There's also another, maybe that's the Giant, I don't know. There's two trails that leave out of here, but the other one is 2.6 miles, and I'm not going to do it. That's too far for me if I want to do anything else while we're here, and I do. So we're going to continue our drive through the park, and we're going to try and stop and see as many things as we can. Yeah, that's the trail to get to the agate house. It's 2.6 miles. I don't think I'm quite up for that. Maybe eventually. Looks like, is that a vault toilet out there on the middle of nowhere? Probably a maintenance shed of some sort. Some piece of infrastructure. Alright, speed limit's 35. Pretty cool to think that when I was over closer to Sunset Crater and then in the Grand Canyon, that I was looking out in this direction at the Painted Desert, and as we came around that last hill and now looking out at that vista, and that's kind of what we were looking at from way over to our left and slightly north, somewhat north. Forest. Well, we've got plenty of wind. It's died down for a moment at least. And I don't think we've ever been up here. Come here. But there is a lot of petrified wood down there. And look right over there. There's a whole log sticking out of the side of the hill. But look at it all. Must have been a huge forest. Look at how much the signboard's moving in the wind. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy wind, I tell you, crazy. The wind was super fierce at that overlook, but the amount of petrified logs, wood pieces out there, pretty impressive. Although not super colorful until you get down around the corner here. I really like the formation of the mesas here. It feels monumental to me. And the dark gray, blue, and green, and tan colors, really pretty. So we're heading out there where you can see them rising above the plain off in the distance.
The parking lot toward Blue Mesa Scenic Road.
Okay, here's where everybody's parked. Is this where the hike is, maybe?
Continue on Blue Mesa Scenic Road for 3 miles.
Is this the money stop right here? Well, I don't know that we get to go down into them, but we get to go in amongst them at least. Please be in your vehicle by 7 p.m. Kit, can we move on? Kit, hey. He's busy sniffing. What smells fascinating there, dude? All right, well, it's a 1 mile loop. Let's see if they really mean it this time. And I think this is actually the trail that I was thinking of. I kind of hope the whole thing is not paved because I don't love walking on pavement, and neither does Kit. 18% grades. Very pretty. Expect icy and slick conditions on the trail. I don't think so. That seems unlikely to me. So over to this side, it looks like mostly hues of browns and whatever. But then over here, you can clearly see all the blues. And I'm sure part of that depends on the lighting. You know, it's interesting. I don't love walking on man-made surfaces. I'd rather walk on the dirt along the side of the trail. And every time I do that, like if we're on a road or whatever, Kid will walk on the roadway instead. He actually likes man-made surfaces. Kind of odd. Wow. Come on, Kit. Okay, this might be a scary trail for me. Oh, you can see all the blues down there now. I think by the time we get to this signpost, I might have to put the camera away. But you can see petrified wood right there, see it? Right there on the hillside. So that's like super cool. And there's a bunch more going all the way down that ravine. Look at that. Oh yeah, we are going to go all the way down into it. Wow, just look at it. Can you see all the people way down there? Yeah, that's where we're going. Not loving the drop-offs here, but we'll be able to do it, I'm sure. I have faith. And I think it's worth it to get down into here. All right, I will have earned my Wheaties today because I just checked with the folks walking by, and we have to come all the way back up here. They're holding the mesa back against too much degradation, I guess. All right, I think I'm not going to pick you up again until we get down in the bottom. Well, I said that, but I wanted to give you some more views of petrified wood. Down there, right over here. Can you imagine building this trail? I guess this is the 18% grade part that we're on right now. I think it's going to be pretty level once we get down here into the mesas. Oh yeah, look at it. Just look at it. I'm not super excited about the getting back up the hill part. We might have to stop and rest, we'll see. But there's some petrified wood for you. Yeah, so see that brown rock up there? That's where we're going back up. Well, I'm not quite sure why everybody seems to be going that way. So everybody's going this way because those folks have a reactive dog. Huh, what's that like? I can't imagine, huh, Kit? I can't imagine what it's like to have a reactive dog. Come on back here, dude. But you are getting better day by day by day. All right, look at all the petrified wood over here and over here. I mean, this almost looks fake, doesn't it? But look at it and you can see all the bark and everything. Isn't that cool? I think it's pretty amazing. And even more amazing from my perspective, I thought we were just coming down here to look at the Blue Mesas. I didn't know we get to look at petrified wood up close too. And here's a revelatory discovery for me. Back in 2017, when I was here with my travel trailer, even if I had been willing to drive my travel trailer up to this trailhead, I'd have looked at the 18% grade and just said nope, and not done it. But things are different now. Yeah, I can hear their dogs barking at somebody else up there. Things are different now. Instead of assuming I can't do something, I assume that I can. Because as Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're correct. And just that has been quite a change for me in the past 10 or 15 years. Just think I can. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to take reckless risks, but it does mean that I'm going to do things that I might otherwise not have been willing to do. Look at the pretty colors in that rock and the pretty Blue Mesas. Now, what I fully expect is this will be my last hike of the day because I expect I'm going to be pretty wiped out. But I am very proud of myself for having gone ahead and done it. So I'm curious, share something with me that you would do now that you never would have done before. Or, if that's not true for you, share with me what holds you back from taking the next step to try something new. I'm really curious about that. Look at these guys up the overlook. The voices really carry. I can hear them very distinctly, and probably so can you, which means maybe they can hear me distinctly as well. Bunch more petrified wood down here. All right, we're gonna just keep walking without talking for a little bit. How about that? Oh, but before I take a break from filming, do let me know how much you enjoy coming along on these hikes with me. We did the one at Picture Canyon about a week and a half or so ago. And this one, can't remember if there's anything else worthwhile in between hike-wise, but that's because I've been doing so much stuff. Look at that whole big pile of petrified wood up in there. All right. And I don't want to show you the whole thing because I want you to have a reason to come discover it for yourself. Fair enough? Look at all the petrified wood that's tumbled down between the two parts of the mesas there. That is super cool. Okay. I am starting to get a little tired. My knee is starting to hurt a little, which does not bode well for getting back up the hill, but I'll do it and it'll be fine. We've come back around to where the trail split and it's time to head back up the 18% grade. I'm going to give you one more glance at it and then I'm going to turn the camera off so you don't have to listen to me huff and puff all the way up the hill. How about that? Like, we'll get around this next little corner, I think, and that'll be that. Although you do get different views going in the opposite direction. Yeah, see the trail going up? Yeah. All right, it's a thing. I can do it. I didn't even notice this bench that I'm sitting on our way down, but my heart rate had gotten up pretty high coming up the hill, and I decided wisdom would be to sit here for a few minutes and let it come back down closer to normal before I start up the next hill. Since I am theoretically at high risk for a heart attack, I don't know what that means in terms of elevated heart rate. So I need to do a little research on that, I guess. I think the bench was about the halfway point up the hill, and I can see Henry parked up there. I'm looking forward to a drink and a snack, and then we'll see what's next. Well, Apple thinks that we just climbed 9 flights of stairs, and that's probably not untrue at all, because we were way down in the bottom there.
Continue on
Glad we did it.
Scenic Road for 2 miles.
It was hard. Not hard, moderately hard. And once again, I forgot to carry water with me, and I really should have. It was pretty thirsty by the time we got back up here. Eventually I'm going to learn, maybe. We'll see. So this detour to Blue Mesa was exactly at the halfway point. It it's 10 miles behind us to the Petrified Forest Visitor Center, and 10 miles ahead of us to the Painted Desert Visitor Center. So that's kind of cool. I feel like I really am experiencing Petrified Forest and Painted Desert. I had no idea that there was so much petrified wood down there in the Blue Mesas where we were walking around. And had I not done that hike, I never would have known. So I think that's like super cool. And I love the thought that I am doing things now that I would have not stepped past my, I'm going to call it fear, to have done previously. And that was definitely a difficult hike for me, in part because of the height, because the trail was very narrow, like basically 3 feet wide, with much more of a drop-off than I really felt comfortable with, plus other people there, and needing to manage Kit to make sure that we weren't going to end up with an altercation that would be bad for everybody. So a little stressful, but that's okay. Look at these beautiful colors, huh? Just look at it. Wow. This is called the TVs. And I can understand why. I guess you can go walk out into them, but guess what? We're not gonna this time. Maybe next time we'll do that. And that's kind of the thing, guys. If I can come through places like this and do a hike each time and see something different, get a different experience, and learn something different each time. So like, what did I learn this time, right? I learned that I can overcome difficult things. And I think that each time we push ourselves to step outside that comfort boundary, even just by sticking a toe over the line, it's a big deal. This property has been listed in the National Register of Historic Places by the United States Department of the Interior. 1978, newspaper rock petroglyphs, archaeological district. So, I think what we're going to get to see here is a couple of things that'll be cool. First of all, it's all these jumbled boulders, but we should also be able to see some petroglyphs, maybe. Maybe. But first, Kit must sniff.
There's also a bird person on that one over there. I would have needed bird person.
All right, so let's see.
Those are the crocodile or something. Yeah. Big one.
So here's some ideas of what we might be able to see. Let's see how that works out. Oh, yeah, not bad. I can see some right down there.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Pretty cool. Okay, so newspaper rock. Bring your binoculars. There's your tech tip. They do have binoculars out there, but there were people standing around
Turn right to
kind of
stay on
blocking the way,
Newspaper
so I couldn't
Roxbury.
use them, which is fine, no big deal. I took a couple of pictures, which I'll look at later and see if I actually captured anything. I could see a few things with my naked eye, but I'm not sure if I got anything that showed up in the viewfinder for you guys, so we'll find out. And from here on, the last thing we're going to hit is the piece of Route 66 that has the 1932 Studebaker. We're going to pass up the Puerto Pueblo ruins because
Turn left onto Petrified Forest Road.
I don't really feel like I need to see more ruins right now. And I'm a little bit concerned about the timing because we still have 85 miles to go to our intended destination, and we're changing time zones today, which I was not really aware of. So there's that. So it's going to be an hour later when we get stopped today, and it's already 2:30. So that's not the most awesome thing from my perspective, because we've got at least an hour and a half of driving, so that's at least 4 o'clock. It's probably going to be like 5:30 or so before we get stopped. And I'm not terribly concerned, at least about looking at the boondocking spots that I want to, because I checked and sunset isn't until 8 o'clock. So as long as I'm getting out there by 6, I think I'm okay with that. So this is the Puerto Pueblo coming up on the right. We're going to skip it. There's plenty of other people there already observing it. We got a big old freight train out there ahead of us. And I'm not sure exactly how far it is until we get to the Route 66 stop. If I hadn't done that rather sizable hike, I might have considered it, but I'm pretty tired. It's the Puerco River, which has no water in it that I can see. It's got a retaining wall over on this side, it looks like. Interesting. Alright, so hopefully we'll see you when we get to Route 66. How do you want to travel? You want to travel in Henry? Or in a 1932 Studebaker? I know what I prefer. Check out the grill here though. How cool is that? I like it. And hopefully we're not going to have too big a wind problem. Holbrook via the Petrified Forest. The Petrified Forest is the only national park in the country with a portion of historic Route 66 within its boundaries. You're currently standing where the Mother Road used to be, with the line of telephone poles paralleling its alignment through the park. This stretch was open from 1926 until 1958, and it was the primary way millions of travelers initially experienced the Petrified Forest and the Painted Desert. Imagine driving to this spot in the 1932 Studebaker before you when this road was in its heyday. Look at this. Wild animals of the Southwest. Painted Desert Tower. Constructed in 1953 and demolished in 1958, the tower used to stand behind you on former private land within the park boundary. One could climb the tower for commanding views of Route 66 and the surrounding areas. Well, that's pretty interesting. All right, let's check out the Studebaker. Let's check out the Raven. He's cool. And so, here are all these white flowers that I was noticing along the roadside before. Just imagine it. So different from modern travel. Oh, more white flowers of a different sort. Very cool. Yeah, you just never know what you're going to get. Perhaps we'll just take pictures of people taking pictures. What do you think? One vehicle at a time. Yeah, they're not even talking to you. I don't think they've got infrared cameras or anything, but I don't know. So normally that's where you would go. They've got a fuel station and all that kind of stuff. And that's where the visitor center is, but not available right now. Alright, so we're going to hop up on the freeway. We do have another quirky stop, which is in 37 miles. So we'll see what that looks like. And I think I'll leave you alone for now and see you there. I'll see all these signs for cheese.
Take exit 348.
Indian store. It's kind of the old school Route 66. You know, we're showing all of the things that you could get from us.
At the next stop sign, turn left.
We're not heading for cheese. We're heading for a quirky stop. We'll see how this works out. There's the tower, and there's the sign. It's Fort Courage. So Fort Courage was developed in the 70s, intended as a Route 66 attraction to capitalize on the success of the television
Take
show
the next left onto North Dirt Road.
F Street from the F Troop from the 1960s. Apparently, most of the former attraction has burned to the ground. And we've got a
Turn
lot
left
of
onto North Dirt Road. Then you will arrive at your destination.
got a lot of equipment out here. I wonder if something is going to be happening. Apparently, it is for sale. But I thought it was worth coming to check out. What do you think? Pretty cool?
You have arrived.
We have arrived. We're going to just come around this way, get another look at it. Can't believe we're going to be saying goodbye to Arizona today. Some very pretty sandstone. This is over on the left here. That's an iconic tourist trap. That one definitely dates back well to the relatively early days of Route 66, I think. Oh, look at that, fuel's $3.99 at AM Best. 55 cents a gallon less than I paid at Sam's Club. Perhaps we'll get lucky and get a low fuel price Welcome to City of Gallup, most patriotic small town in America, population 21,678, elevation 6512. Yes, this is the New Mexico I know and love. Says no trucks. I wonder what that means. Down to 59 degrees. I'm hopeful. Something. Couldn't tell what that was. Property is owned by the City of Gallup. All through access will be blocked prohibited. Report vandalism, no dumping, no shooting. Okay, well that doesn't sound terrible so far.
Continue straight and stay on County Road 1, then your destination will be on the right.
I mean, this actually looks pretty spectacular.
Your
Oh, yeah.
destination is on the right.
Alright, this is very spectacular. And it doesn't say anything about no overnight parking. Can't leave it. Leave it. Alright, so we're going to figure out where we're going to park here.
Wake up with the sun in